Yes, sir. And I, Ras Negus, time is come for the lion to tell the lion own story, you know? Yeah, listen to the lion voice. Rastafari.
Haile,
Haile.
What are you waiting for? Come together, calling from near and far. Know who you are. What are you waiting for? Rally up, it takes the dust. What are you waiting for? Ancestors paved the way for us. Yes, I am Ketis Oyonde, asking, what are you waiting for to come together? The time has come for the lions to tell our own story. This is the lion's voice.
Yeah, man. Greetings, Rastafari, Haile Emperor Haile King Selassie, the first, the perfect balance Empress Menin. This is first man for Rastafari Indigenous Village, recognizing, accepting, promoting lion voice. Yes, the voice of Rastafari, speaking about Rastafari, educating Rastafari, preserving, protecting Rastafari. Give thanks.
Aye, Rastafari, mighty.
The fittest of the fittest shall survive. My people, open your eyes. Wake up. Blessed love, this is Queen Omega, representing for all lions and lionesses. With the lion's voice, we come to tell our story. Rastafari, live it. Hey, the lion's voice, Rastafari.
Yes, job people, this is Michael Shemai representing. I will say, hear the lion voice, saying it is time for the lions and the lionesses to tell their own story. King David killed Goliath with a stone, we original dread.
I will never stop, hail the Most High, and I will never stop, call Rastafari. Blessed love, this is Kushite representing for the Lion's Voice. We are here to tell our own story, Rastafari.
Blessed love, this is Rashala representing for the Lion's Voice, saying, yeah man, keep it locked right here, sir. On to Zion we go, Lion Voice don't move slow, no. Rastafari rules and reigns, and we're going where the blessings flow. Keep it locked right here, sir, saying, Rashala said that, Lion's Voice.
Amina, the time has come for the lioness to tell our own story. No surrender, no retreat, we are Jaja soldier. Rougher than the streets, tougher than a boulder. Bigging up Lion's Voice. Now put it, I Jollifer said that.
Yo, blazing fire, yeah man, this is Rasindio out of Belize. And the time has come for the lions to tell our own story. Right? Yeah man, we blaze fire, burning the wicked and the dirty vampire. Yeah man, Rasindio said that, blazing fire, lion boy.
Well, lion voice, tell them that's the people first choice. Lion voice, make the lioness them feel nice. Lion voice, with the lion cubs we sacrifice. Lion voice, got to show the people them the life. Lion voice.
Jano, I'm so hungry, bro. I haven't eaten all day. Like, my head started to hurt me too. Like, what more could I eat right now?
What about a city samosa? and get your samosa, a fusion of Indian, Jamaican, and African culture. City Samosas, the best samosas in the city.
The biggest reggae cultural event, Rebel Salute,
is finally coming to the United States.
Rebel Salute 2025, Sunday, September 28th.
With live performances by Tony Rebel, Maxi Priest, Queen Africa, Mikey Spice, Louis Culture, Michael Rose, Chalice, Lux, Rebel Clan, and more Florida-based acts.
Special dope plate showcase by Dynamic.
Taking place at the Miramar Regional Park in Miramar, Florida.
Doors open 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. Get your tickets now at RebelSaluteUSA.com.
Ain't got no money, I'm short on cash, but a little bit I got to make it last. Some driving in the fast lane, drive too fast, and when they crash, no for them crack like glass. Some act like they never had no past. I ask them about the history, them grin and laugh. They don't know what we've been through, see what they into. I say I'm African, no, they say they're Africans too. Well, who built the OAU? When I ask them for them now, they can't say who. How many stay true and seek that light? How many sell them soul for the money and hype? It's funny how money make a man delight. The same money turn around and make him lose his life. But who gonna teach the people them how to survive? But we not the lion from Judah tribe. Who gonna make sure that the black man rise? We not the lion from Judah tribe. Who gonna take the dogs and open their eyes? We not the lion from Judah tribe. Who gonna shine his light, reveal all lies? We not the lion from Judah tribe. Some ain't got money, they lost their job. Some ain't got money, so they steal and rob. Some work hard just to get the car when the house gets laid off. Creditors are kicked out. Some sell rocks to the people for the love of the money. Some start doing evil. Some push dope in their veins. Who lost their hope? Some break the chains. Tell them about the lion who can't be tamed. Rule Mount Zion crowned with a new name. Might of the Trinity manifest in the flesh. Now the energy can't be contained. Who gonna teach the people them how to survive? We not the lion from Judah tribe. Who gonna make sure that the black people rise? We not the lion from Judah tribe. Who gonna take the stripper, open the eyes? We not the lion from Judah tribe. Who gonna shine his light, reveal our lies? We not the lion from Judah tribe. In the unemployment line, heart filled with soul but ain't got a dime. Babylon, they want confuse your mind. In the peace and calm, so hard to find. Babylon filled with distractions, so many got the thoughts, so few got the actions. Babylon seeks satisfaction, mental chain cause chain reaction. 500 years and look what happened. Black man either in jail or he's rapping. Or we gun clapping his brother when he see the other man he run for cover. And brothers don't even treat their sisters right. How many sell them soul for the money and hype? It's funny how money make a man delight. The same money turn around and make him lose his life. Who gonna teach the people them how to survive? Are we not the lion from Judah tribe?
Greetings in that divine name of His Imperial Majesty, Emperor Haile Selassie I the First. Glory and honor in the name of his chosen queen, Empress Waziri Menen. My name is Kwasi Bonsu, aka Dejazmatch Kwasi, aka Ras Kwasi, aka the Reading Ras, aka the Pan-African Happy Man, a creative industry attorney. I'm an author, I'm an artist, I'm an actionist, and right now I am the host of Lion Talk. This is the Reading Ras on the Frontline special edition of the Lion Voice, Lion Talk. In one, we have today our elder Ras Sekou Tafari. This is the Lion Voice Network. If this is your first time here, welcome to one of the fastest growing institutions in the whole reality
of Rastafari and the Pan-African reality. So if you're over here, then you are riding that frequency in this time of Armageddon, and we welcome you to the platform. Today, we are going to go into 3 seminal works within the Rastafari Livity. Foundational works. If you're in Rastafari, you must touch on these 3 books today. So we are going to go through, our elder is going to guide us. I am the reading Ras. And so literature, the love of literature is a part of every Rastafari, without question. And I don't have to ask, because His Majesty had his own personal library. And we base our livity off of His Majesty. When we say Rastafari is a living I. So anything we talk about, we talk with authority, because he did live, he did write his story. So we're also going to just have a little interlude, because today is also Rastafari Day. It was on this day, 1916, September 27, that the proclamation was read declaring Dejazmatch Tafari as Ras. And so we celebrate this day as Rastafari Day. These are all new things within the movement. So I'm going to have another brethren come in and just block a song about the significance of the day and some of the research that has been going forward. So we'll take a brief interlude while I'm reasoning with our elder about the works today. We have 3 books selected. So get ready, we're going to go on the Frontline Books website. So if you are not buying your books, if you're not buying at least 1 book a month from Frontline, we want to change that. Part of this program is to build a culture. We want Frontline Books to be our #1 multi-million-dollar earning publisher, so that they can establish branches all over the continent. And for those who have traveled to Africa, they know that finding Pan-African literature is not very easy, because all of the books, everything has been set up with the colonial mindset in terms of what books reach over there, what literature the university students have access to. So you could imagine if we have a Frontline Books strategically, but beside every African university, just like how we have Sankofa Books across from Howard University that attracted youths like I and I. When I was going to school, I could go to a Pan-African bookstore, hear reasonings, revolutionary reasoning, and good vibrations, linked with Ethiopians, all type of Africans. So think strategically. And Frontline might not have the bookstores, but they'll be the wholesalers supplying those bookstores across the continent. So one of the reasons that we partnered with Frontline Book is so that we could grow together. The media has to be partnered with the education, the literature. They go like a hand in a glove. So what the IDEM really are supporting by watching the Lion Voice Network, by being here, you're supporting building the Rastafari architecture for the next 50 years. We're putting it in place as the IDEM watch, adapting to the new technology. We are now on TikTok. So for everyone who watches this, go over to TikTok, go and like, follow, subscribe to the Lion Voice Network page on TikTok. We just got on TikTok, and I'm telling the item, it's very overwhelming over there. I'm just getting used to Instagram. Go over TikTok, the thing will flash. We can only deal with it in small increments. My youths, them are going to be controlling the TikTok account. But Lion Voice Network will be on TikTok, so check us out over there. Again, if you're just joining us, we have our elder Ras Sekou Tafari. We're going to go through our books of the month for September. Ethiopian New Year 2018, New Beginnings. So this is going to be an epic journey. We also have the IDOR study group returns tonight, right after and that's why we're early today. We have the IDOR study group starting 7 p.m. If you want to join the IDOR study group where we go through the teachings of His Majesty, you can join my Patreon. and I've posted the link in the Patreon. Even free members, you can go, so you don't have to pay to get that link. We have that link over there if you want to join the IDOR study group. Just go through the Patreon so that we can deal with it. But tonight, or this afternoon, or this evening, we are going to go through 3 powerful books. Again, as a young Ras, these were some of the books that we had to read. So let me not waste no more further time. Let me welcome our elder, Ras Sekou, Royal Blessings. Okay, you get the horizontal. Ras Sekou. Unmute thyself. Unmute thyself.
I got it.
Okay, we got it. Yeah, just adjust it a little bit. You got the
You
horizontal.
hear me? You hear me?
Yeah, I hear the eye.
Okay, all right.
But we're not seeing.
I have some young power on the base.
Okay, we're not seeing the top of your head though right now.
Okay, what about now?
Lean forward and let me see.
What about now?
No, we're not seeing the top of your head. Hold on, let me adjust a little.
What about it?
Lean back.
Lean back?
Yeah, there you go. Beautiful.
You see me now? All right. Okay.
Yes, I fully active. All right. Family, we have the legend. The legend is seated. It's a little snappy, but we're going to bring. But just greet the people for us, Ras Sekou.
Yes, your song from your end. I don't know if it's a song, your song messed up because it's something kind of green. Static.
Yeah, there's a little static. Talk, let me hear.
All right. Liberate the minds of men, and ultimately, you liberate the bodies of men. So said our great teacher, the Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey. And that is the purpose of Frontline and the purpose of the Lion Pride, Lion Talk, is to liberate the minds of men. Because colonialism has done a job on us, slavery has done a job on us. So we say liberate the minds of men. So ultimately we liberate the bodies of men. And that is the great Marcus Garvey. And we live to make that a manifestation within the irids of Rastafari and the wider Pan-African community across the diaspora. So this is what we live for. So give thanks. And give thanks to be here. This is going to be a treat. We have 3 nice pieces of work, all work that one could necessarily need to have in the collection. Very important. Yeah? But they're all are coming. So give thanks. More love, more life. Give thanks to the African family, the Pan-African family, the Rastafari family. Frontline is here again. Another city above the ground. We are here above the ground where Kwasi and I are here. And we give thanks. I want to just give a tribute to our dear sister for the Black Liberation Army who transcended to the ancestors yesterday, Thursday. Sister Asata Shakur, who finds solace in Cuba, the People's Republic of Cuba, after having to run out of here because the dragons were trying to get her blood. So we give thanks. She's now with the ancestors, although young blood, but sometimes the young have to go early, to continue for the works to pass on to other soldiers who have to be ready to take up the work. So we give thanks and honor also Osajifo Kwame Nkrumah, who stood strong was a few days ago on the 22nd. So we want to honor Osajifo Kwame Nkrumah as well, because it's very important for us to remember our ancestors, right? And everyone should know who Kwame Nkrumah was, Osajifo Kwame Nkrumah. He led Ghana into independence in 1957, 6th of March, 1957. So very important to remember Osajifo. right? He wrote a very crucial book. We call it Neocolonialism, the final stage of capitalism. And that's one of the books he was deposed over, right, and overthrew, right, backed by the U.S. government and so on. So we give thanks for that, and we want also to remember, if it wasn't for Their Majesty Haile Selassie I, China wouldn't. I don't know if China would have made it into the UN, even to make it into the chambers, because it was Their Majesty who consistently and continuously pushed to get China, People's Republic of China, into the League of into the United Nations. So with all that, just we give thanks, more love, more life. We here to show the love and share the love. Give thanks.
Give thanks, and I'm glad you touched those points, because I want to always keep this platform as a Pan-African platform, you know. So we're not just talking about the emperor, we're talking about our great Pan-African. We're getting a lot of feed forward from the right side. Hold on, mute that mic a little bit. But yeah, so when we talk to our elder, we want to always keep that, you know, so people like Assata Shakur, people like Nkrumah, you know, because I know there's a lot of our Pan-African family that watches the channel, not just Rastafari people, although we cater from a Rastafari worldview. We are a Pan-African Rastafari platform. I always make that clear. So those facts and those celebrations, and you're going to see a lot more Pan-African content, because as Rastafari, we have to keep that rooted in that Pan-African, because that's where we rose from. Haile Selassie is a Pan-Africanist, you know what I mean, to the bone. So we have to highlight. If you have not seen the episode we did with Mokonnen Ketema, go watch it, about you know, the formation of the OAU, and you know, Ketema Yefudu was the Ethiopian who is my descent, and his son, we just interviewed him. I just released a full interview on the channel yesterday. So if you haven't seen that one, it's a classic. Go and check it out. He wrote a book about his father. Support the book as well. And we're all about reading and books over here on the Lion Voice Network. All right, so we're gonna get into our programming. Let's talk about the books for September. All right, Ras Sekou.
All right. So the first book I want to introduce to the community and to the diaspora is called the Original Maccabees Bible, and it has included Psalm 151, which was left out of the Babylon Bible, King James Version, and others. You'll find the 151 also in the Ethiopian Bible. So this is the Original Maccabees Bible. And if you have Caribbean roots, you would know that people in the Caribbean always try to get the Maccabees Bible. What is Maccabees Bible about? Some people think it's something they use for witchcraft and stuff like that. But it's basically the Original Maccabees Bible. It deals with a period of war, because those people, those Jewish people, they were very much warmongers. The Maccabees were people, they were sons and the father and son, and they were very much dealing with fighting. They did a lot of fighting, because those people are mainly European people, are mainly bloodthirsty. If you go to Europe and you deal with the Vikings, the gladiators, all these sort of people, that's what they deal with. But nonetheless, Psalm 151 is a very good psalm. It's left out of the King James Version, and we say so. One and one should get it, right? So you could read the Maccabees Bible, which is a jewel, Original Maccabees Bible, and you also get in as a bonus Psalm 151. Okay? Give thanks.
Give thanks. I'm just pulling it up here on the site so one can see for themselves. We have it
So
here.
you have to go on the site. The site is thefrontline.com. DI, or you could say some people may say thefrontline.com.
Okay.
DI-frontline.com.
Okay, hold on 1 second here. I have it here. So I hope everyone can see. I'm flying without my producer today. So anytime you watch the channel and you see the production shaky, you know, is man. My queen usually have me smooth and nice, but you don't know, you can't always have that access. All right. I'm getting feed forward from the I side, Ras Sekou. I don't know.
No, it's my side. Because, all right, this is my side. So far, you hear me now? I ain't hearing it anymore. You hearing it?
I'm not hearing it anymore either.
Oh, okay, but as you talk, I'm hearing it.
I think it's my voice coming through your speaker.
So what do you recommend?
I think I'm gonna have to mute the eye when I talk.
Okay, no worries.
I'll try that. So I'll mute you on my side when I talk. Let me see. Yeah. So when I talk, yeah, it sounds better, and then.
All right. Well, let's
talk
go.
here.
Return?
Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yes. Yeah. So that is the power of the Maccabees Bible with the inclusion of Psalm 151. So this is our full recommendation to the community. To obtain one, the price is $25.99. But if you buy it from the website, we give it to you for the whole price of $19.95.
Okay. I have it here, $25.99. But you said there's a special price. They have to just
Yes, we buy it from Offer Lion Pride because they want Lion Pride, and you buy it through the website. We give it to you for $19.95.
Okay, so they have to just leave a code and say Lion Pride.
We don't have a code. I mean, we could put in a code. We could put in a code. I probably we could probably looking to get in a code in probably by tomorrow or so. But once you say, yeah. But I'll check on actually the art director if he could put in a code. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So that there. Yeah. So you know, we have to treat family as family. You know.
Hold on there.
We want ones and ones to have to build up the true berry. As our sister was, like he would say, you know, as a trained Truberian. So we say yes, build up your true berry, and we at Frontline would have the books for you, and soon enough we'll also be releasing a few of Rastafari Speaks, the old issues over the next, maybe from November or December, they'll be on the market. You know, you can get it on the site, or you probably could get it to Amazon. But we'll be getting ready to launch them, the old edition. So we probably do at least three to start, and then every month or every other month we do the three until, you know, and then maybe that's how we're gonna go, because those issues were classics, you know, and we want to share. We want to share them with the world. We want to share them with the Rastafari community. We want to share them with the Pan-African community. You know, because when we put those papers out, it was like 45 years ago, and now we think that they're like a piece of cake. You know, it's like just gotta cherish it, especially a nice piece of black cake. You know, so we want to cherish those papers, and those young people, younger people, could read them and keep them in the archive to pass down to, if you have a Rastafari family, and if you don't have a Rastafari family, which have enough, a lot of information in here, not only for Rastafari people, but also for all African people, all black people. Yeah, because you know, every one of us was one consider African is a Rasta man or a Rasta woman. You know, you might say if you didn't see the Majesty, but you see Africa, and you know that we are the defending power of the black struggle. And there you are, wherever you are, in whatever part of the world you are, first thing you must always remember that you are African, first and foremost, right? You may be African living in America, you may be African born in America, you may be African living in Canada, you may be African living in Trinidad or Jamaica, Antigua, etc. But you are African first and foremost, because you can't leave Africa as an African and not become a Negro or a black or whatever. Black is just a definition, right? But we are African people living in America. Some people may say it's the land might be called Antigua land. Some people may say maybe it's called Nubia. Some people may say all different things. But whatever you want to attribute it to, but African is the most common because African was, to put the name African after Africa was conquered by, I think, was a Roman fighter named African. You know, in those days, whenever the one who could do the conquest, they named the place after that person, African. So that's how the word African. But we had other names, Nubia, even Ethiopia, because you know what we know now as Ethiopia. We used to call it, that was called Eastern Ethiopia. And what we know is actually Western Ethiopia was called Ethiopia, and Eastern Ethiopia was called with Ethiopian. Western Ethiopia was what we know as India now. That was Western Ethiopia, because Ethiopia, as it is a country that founded India. That's why they call the oldest, one of the oldest Ethiopian emperor, right? Emperor by the name of Gandhi, right? You know the Gandhi river. That is how that name was taken. Was given to because it was in honor of the founder of Ethiopia, who was Emperor Gandhi, and he named the river Gandhi. And that's where most all the Hindus and so on they go there and bathe. They go on there. When they die, people transformed. They burn ashes on the pier there and so on. So the Gandhi is always in the name, and that name came from Ethiopia, was Ethiopian emperor who founded India. So remember when they didn't even have toilets and so on, and the Ethiopians who taught the people there how to use things like flushing toilets, because the civilization was an advanced civilization in Ethiopia at that time. And all that time, you must remember that what we know as Yemen today, right? That was where the seat of power of Makeda, who some people call the Queen of Sheba, and because Sheba was just a province in Ethiopia, right? But Yemen, where they now have divided into North and South Yemen, all that area there was from where the Empress of Queen Makeda ruled, right? Do you know the story of Makeda?
Yes.
And so on.
And I would tell everyone, stick up in 1 second. I would tell everyone to Google Yemeni Jews, and you will see that a lot of them are darker than both myself and Ras Sekou. These are, when we hear Yemen, sometimes we think about Arabs. But when you look at the Yemenis, especially in southern Yemen, you see that they're Ethiopian, they're black man, same way, dark skin, African people. So even when you see it speak about Saba and Sheba, this was one empire that stretched across the Red Sea. But I want to go forward to the Maccabees, because I think one of the things with the Maccabees that's so important is that it talks about the Greek occupation of Jerusalem and the Levant. And this was the early part of when Europeans start coming into the
Middle East, and they were trying to force him to sacrifice pork, on the they brought all kind of abominations which caused the Maccabean priests them to revolt and to lead the revolution. But it's so, in terms of the story, I think the Catholics in the Catholic Bible, but Catholics don't read the Bible. But it was taken out of the Protestant Bible because it really carries that revolutionary, anti-colonial kind of vibration. You know what I mean? In terms of the story of the Hebrew, so it's a very important piece of the history of the African Hebrews, because that was when you still had a remnant of African Hebrews in Northeast Africa. I hear them calling it West Asia now, trying to separate it from Africa. The new official term in the media is West Asia. They don't call it the Middle East anymore. Middle East is of course made up. Hold on, Ras Sekou, I hear the eye blocker.
Geographically, there's no Middle East. So you have West Asia, you have East Asia, and so on. So what they used to call the Middle East is really West Asia, and so on. And because even all the way what they call the Middle East was also a part of the African continent.
I was gonna say I call it Northeast Africa. I think it's more Africa than Asia.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I totally agree with you. I totally agree.
But it's political.
Because Hannibal could across the Alps with the elephants, because it was an interconnection. It was an interconnection. We know about Hannibal, and Hannibal, crossed the Alps and defeated the Europeans. So we so it really look at it. Africa was a big vast land until when they had natural disasters and so on, where certain things were split and so on. But you have even the Arabs. The Arabs, for the most part, they came from African parentage. So we must know these things, and whereby the problem came around over a period of time to deal with what they call Judaism, and those Jews were pale-skinned Jews who came and occupied what you now know as Palestine. Because the people who inhabited Palestine, those so-called Palestinians, and I say so-called because those Palestinians originally were black people. But now if you go to Palestine today, the black people who live in Palestine, on the outskirts of Palestine, they give them a degrading name. But all the Palestinians were also actually mostly black people, because their parents, one of the parents 9 out of 10 times were black. And similarly with the Arabs, who are the family from one family in terms of the Palestinians and so on. But
yes.
Part of the Ottoman Empire.
Stick a pin. The audio is really giving a lot of feedback, so we're not hearing the eye. Can the eye try to come out and come back in? Yeah, see if you can come out and come back in. That will help out. I said come out and come back in and see if that will help. It's getting bad now. It's getting very bad. We're working on it, family. Please forgive the little technical issue. I've been trying to sort it on my side. But it's coming from the elder side, so we're gonna try sort it out. So give us a little few moments here, because I'm also hearing it, and now it's getting to the point where we can't even hear what the elder is saying, and he's dropping gems as he always does. He's dropping nothing but heat on the platform. So for those who are watching live, let us know where you're watching from. Big up yourself, Brother Robbie. I see the scholastic comments. You're in the right place. We love them type of comments over here on the Lion Voice Network. That's what we thrive on, high level reasoning. So you're in the perfect place. I just apologize for the audio. We're gonna try to work out the difficulties with the sound. The sound is really bad with the elder. So we're gonna try to fix it up. Give us a little few minutes. But other than that, family, I can tell the item that it's a joy. We added one more person to the Lion Pride on Patreon. We added one more person. Tomorrow we have our town hall meeting. Special guest, Sister Colleen Douglas. We're going to be doing a presentation on personal branding. So one of the things that we're doing with our Lion Pride on Patreon is capacity building. You know, we want everyone to have their own creative ecosystem. And by creative ecosystem, meaning whatever it is that is your passion, whatever your product or service, whatever you love, you need to put a monetization around it. You can be earning from doing your passion. That's the age that we live in. This is part of the manifestation of Zion on earth, is when everybody is doing what they love. That is when the earth restored to the balance. And to do what you love, you need to put infrastructure in place. Part of that infrastructure is your marketing. Your number one marketing tool is yourself when you begin. You know, your personal branding. Who is it that the I is? How are you cultivating yourself in the public space? So we have a marketing expert who's going to join us in the town hall meeting tomorrow to give a presentation. It's going to be high level. You know what I mean? We are going to build together. I'm not planning to be lonely at the top. My people, we're building a community here on the Lion Voice Network, and I want everyone to have their own ecosystem. That means I suppose you can go within your ecosystem and interview or do some piece of content within your ecosystem, and your audience now gets introduced to you're supposed to come on my ecosystem. We do an interview or some piece of content, and then my audience gets to know the So when we all do that, then we can never fall. You know what I mean? And we're cultivating because the audience is continually growing. Right now we are at 55,000 plus here on the Lion Voice Network. But if I join that with my other Rastafari and independent non-aligned media, we can now have an audience of millions. And that's the concept, you know what I mean, that we have to use right now, is the concept of collective security. So we are building like minds. We have 44 people in the Patreon. I need 6 more. We're not gonna make our 50 to start our grant program. So I need 6 of the item to join the Patreon this evening. The meeting tomorrow, so that we can start, or we're gonna have to wait till October to get started on our grant program. And what that is that when we reach 50 people in our Patreon, we're going to be selecting a worker or a cause within the Rastafari movement every month to give a small monetary contribution to, and then we'll also interview the people who are, or person who is doing the work to, you know, amplify the work and hopefully bring more capital. One of the things we want to use our Rastafari independent non-aligned media is to try to capitalize the workers, the workforce, create the economic base, and then provide an audience for people to market their product or service. So in addition to the educational piece, we have ones like our elder, different ones coming on the platform. The other part of the media part is the economic base, and having people be able to have an audience where they can come and talk about their product or service. And, you know, I always say my vision, we have 55,000 people. If 10 of those, if all of those people drop $10 on a guest, we've capitalized that guest to the extent of over $500,000, $550,000. And we could be doing that once every strong. What would happen to our community if our workers were capitalized and had money to hire staff, create budgets, create infrastructure? 500,000, you can run an operation for a year or two. You know what I mean? So that's the concept that we are cultivating. And again, I don't want it to just be Iman have this platform. We're cultivating. So if you're at the town hall meeting tomorrow, you'll find out that we are helping everyone to develop their own brands, their own, and everybody who you see present in the town hall meeting, they do consultation one-on-one, and they also offer discounted rates for members of the Lion Pride on Patreon. So again, we're building an ecosystem that benefits the IDEM. We're coming up together. It's not just I, it's all of I and I coming together. Also, and if you're just joining us, we are reasoning with Elder Ras Sekou. We had some technical difficulties. He's trying to fix up those technical difficulties so that we can get a clean audio. We have to get clean audio. And I can tell you, even right now, I'm going to get some phone calls from people who watch the replay, and I'm going to get cussed out by some of Ras Sekou people because they say, you can't have the elder sounding like that, Ras. What are you dealing with? And you know what I mean? So I'm going to feel some heat now. Anytime the elder is not presented in the right way, I'm going to feel some heat. So hopefully we'll get that audio situation cleaned up. Again, I'm going to be traveling for the month of October. October 2nd is I'm on Earth Strong. October is my Earth Strong month. I'm going to be traveling off the grid for the entire month of October. So we'll be celebrating October 4th is the 4-year anniversary of the Lion Voice Network. So we'll be celebrating. We're already starting to load up content, some of the highlight episodes. All month we're going to be re-showcasing some of the episodes that made the channel what it is. A lot of people came in recently. We've done over 5,000 new subscribers in the last month. So they don't know about the early days and what we come through and where we come from. You're just seeing it now. So we're going to be highlighting that for the entire month of October. I also will be collecting content the entire month. I'll be traveling to a location because of safety. We're not going to say where it is. My Lion Pride on Patreon, the item will get to see where it is, and I'll be uploading into the Patreon for the inner circle. But for the world, we'll just be focusing on celebrating 4 years of the Lion Voice Network. We'll return fully loaded in November. I already have a lot of interviews stockpile. We're going to come hard the last 2 months of the year. We're ending hard. We're coming with a full onslaught. Trust me, it's not going to be normal. The last part of this year, we're reaching out. We're trying to line up some heavy hitter guests. But October is about celebration and just reflection. So watch the content, comment on the videos, share. We want to still keep the thing moving. Greetings.
Yes, I. Yes, I.
Okay, perfect.
I tell you, I have some brilliant high power brains in the house.
Okay,
high
okay.
Power brains, young power man.
We're not seeing the full face.
All right.
But the audio sound beautiful.
What about now?
Yes, I.
Yeah.
All right. Sit back. Liquor.
All right. Give me a minute. Yeah. Let me plug this in. All right. What about now?
All right. Yes, I. Beautiful. All right. The static is coming forward again.
I think that. What about now?
Better. It's better.
Yeah. We're still there.
It's still there.
Let's roll then.
All right. Let's go to the next book.
The next book is a classic, an ancient Ethiopian classic. Right? It's called the Nikas. The Nikas, or the Queen of Sheba and her only son Menelik. Right? I gave a hint because I was trying to go straight into that from Maccabees Bible. That was given the history. The history of what we know as Makeda, right? They say she ruled over Sheba, but Sheba was a province of Ethiopia. That is where you say Sheba or Seba was part of what you call Yemen. Because now we have Yemen divided into North and South Yemen. But it used to be one Yemen. And Makeda or Makada, as they would say it in the original language, right? She ruled. She was the one who went to, and according to the mythos, right? And that she met up with the king of Jerusalem, who was that gracious king. According to the story, it was a wise man called Solomon or Solomon or Solomon, right? He was one of the wisest leaders. And according to the story, he was a black man as well, because if you read the Songs of Solomon, he say, he was talking to Makeda and he say, you are black but comely, right? So we must know that within the documentation, this is what you call, this is from Makeda. And Makeda ruled Yemen, which was part of the Ethiopian Federation at the time. She ruled from the seat in Yemen, and that rule was from East Africa, right? The way you call Yemen now, part of Ethiopia at the time. And it went all the way across the Nile Valley civilization to what we know today. And some people call, including myself, we call some people call it South Africa, but South Africa is just a destination. So we call it Azania, which was one of the early tongues, or the early names that the original settlers of that part of the tongue call it Azania. Or some people say Azania or Azania, right? The Europeans call it South Africa, but South Africa was a destination, a geographical destination. Azania is the original name, and that's the name I think that's what we should call that part of the world, right? You have next door, you have Zimbabwe, the great Zimbabwe, and right next door, that whole area there was called Azania, right? And the queen of the queen at the time, Empress Makeda or some people call it Queen of Sheba, she ruled from the province in Seba, which was in what you call Yemen, all the way to Azania, Kimberley, and so on, right? And more history is coming out about that part of Africa, which we call South Africa, and they said they found not too long ago, some years ago, a big cave buried below with hieroglyphics. What the Europeans call hieroglyphics, we call Metuneta or Meduneta, native divine speech, right? So they found below that cave in what we know as Tanzania, going back to over 1,000 years. Precedent what probably we call Nubia or even what we call Egypt or Kemet, right? Land of the black people, right? They found ants, right? Like they will see, we already have an ant is part of our Frontline, right? With the books. So ants, some people say it's a devil thing and all kind of stuff like that. But the ant is one of the original so-called crosses, and it represents both the male and female power. The top represents the female, the bottom represents the male, right? Parts of the biological parts of both male and female. It's like what the Chinese or the Japanese call yin and yang.
Yes.
That is what that represents.
Stick up in there. Stick up in Sekou. Bongo wisely.
is asking, he
Huh?
said, Ras Sekou, are you saying Solomon was both black and white? Please
No, no,
explain.
no. Solomon was black. I never say he was white. I never say he was white. Who want to say he's white? I don't know anything about that. But according to the mythos, and if you want to combine um, Ethiopian history, and if you look at the Bible, I say I'm not a Bible person, but I study it from cover to cover, and I know certain things about the Bible. But however, they say that Solomon said, "I am black but comely," right? And I'm saying that those people in that part of the world, they could never be white because there's no white people. People could be pale skinned, but they can't be white. And those people who live at that time in that area of the world were sunburned people. They're brown, have an olive color, but they were not pale skin, right? They weren't pale skin. They were Nubian, they were black people, African people, right? Congo people. That you gotta be clear.
Yes,
You must
yes.
be clear about that.
And then there's another comment here I want to address, Robbie, and I love Robbie's comments. Keep them coming, my brother. I love where you're going. You're showing the right way to kind of challenge, and put in different perspective that we might not agree, but I love how the eye is putting forward the eye sound. This is what Iman loves. He said, I think many Rastas believe that the Kebra and Feta are older than they actually are. These are medieval productions to create national origin and story based on Oriental Coptic law and Islamic folklore. How would the I respond? And then Iman will respond, how I see it.
Well, first and foremost, I want to say that the Kibra Negas, the Feta Negas, and so on have nothing to do with Arab history, right? That this is dealing with Ethiopian, whether some of it may be mythos or some might be facts, but it's part of that history of those people who live what some people call the Middle East, and we say there's no Middle East, but we say that that place there where you had the connection, some of it, as I said, would be mythos, but some of it real, because there was a queen called Makeda. We could defend that, right? And she ruled from Yemen. We could defend that. History shows that. There's no doubt about that. You know what I'm saying? But there are some things that might be mythos that might be real. They come like the story of Adam and Eve, and some of these stories are not real. But we could show that in the Ethiopian Bible, which came out of Geese and so on, you have within that tradition, you have the Psalm 151, you have the Makeda or the Queen of Sheba and her only son Menelik, right? And so on. You have the laws of some of these. So I don't know. Some people, in some of it, go back to 900 years. Some may go back to a longer period. Yes, there might be some factors there in terms of massaging the figures and so on. But reality is Ethiopian history in terms of books and documentation goes back to thousands of years. Whether or not some of these stories may go back to as long as those, we don't know. I don't know. But historians could show that Ethiopia, what we know, which was all part of the Nubian Empire, which is now known as Sudan, all those places like Punt, which is in Somalia, right? That is not no myth. Those are history, right? Because it was the people of Punt used to supply what we know as Kemet today with things like frankincense and myrrh and so on. These are real stories. So my foundation is not in pale scale stories. We know history. I'm a conscious African, and I defend seeking information, because, as I say, from the beginning, as I opened the door with saying that Marcus Garvey said, right? He said, liberate the minds of men, and ultimately you will liberate the bodies of men. And we are here to liberate the African mind, right? We are here to liberate the African mind. Why? Because colonialism has been a detrimental thing, especially on our African continent, especially here in North America as well, where the Caribbean and so on. Where, wherever you have colonialism and neo-colonialism, they are biting us. My father used to say it will take over 1,000 years for us to liberate ourselves from neo-colonialism and neo-colonialism. And it's the fact here, because we have a lot of work to do in the West here, in the Western states here, and also in the African continent, where they use certain doctrine to keep us in a form of bondage and mental slavery. But Mugabe gave us the antidote. He said, liberate the minds of men, and ultimately you will liberate the bodies of men. Give thanks.
Yes, and to add on to that, and to respond to Brother Robbie, is that first of all, we have to understand that these the written works in Ethiopia, they were written on parchment or animal skins. So the oldest verified copies of the Kebra and the Feta are dated to the Middle Ages. But the history that is encapsulated stretched long before the Middle Ages. The Christian, the Hebrew influence with the Falasha predates the Middle Ages by far. You know what I mean? And that's things like the Book of Acts, where we see them mention the Ethiopian eunuch, just bears to that tradition that was present in Northeast Africa with the history says that the eunuch had a full copy of the book of Isaiah. This history was already in the Nile Valley civilization. It was one contiguous people, knowledge is going back and forth. So that was planted already in Ethiopia prior to the Middle Ages. The other thing that we have to also take into account is that during the invasion of Grand the Left-Handed, Iman Grand, a lot of original manuscripts were burned. A lot of them were looted. So anything predating a certain period, a lot of that information was lost during that pillaging. And what was not lost was hidden and not shared. So a lot of scholarship, they don't even know what's in some of these monasteries, to be honest with you. Especially the images of the African Yeshua, Jesus Christus. These things are oftentimes not shared with the public. Ethiopia is of great anciency and antiquity, and a lot of that knowledge was preserved in these rock monasteries that are in the hinterland. They preserve their own tradition and culture. As it relates to King Solomon, Queen of Sheba, that is, and I've asked Ethiopians and done, that is not something that is external to the national consciousness. These are things that they themselves preserve. And if we go throughout Africa, we know the power of the oral history. Ethiopia is no different. There's a lot of oral history. It was only very few writings. To write a book might take you years to inscribe in those ancient times. So books were very rare, and again, either hidden, they could have been destroyed. So it's, when you hear people talk about the Feta and the Kebra coming from the Middle Ages, it's really what can be verified by modern scholarship in terms of manuscripts that they have access to. That doesn't mean the history start and stop with Amdi Zion or these great emperors. It predates. And then also remember that there's an ebb and flow. So at certain times, the Solomonic dynasty controlled a great swath. Certain time, they might have dwindled down and only been in the highland. And you have other traditions and peoples in Ethiopia that would control for a time. So, but the history is still there, just because it might not predominate. For example, you had a Jewish queen, Judith, who came and destroyed the Christian monasteries and do all these things. There's been a lot of upheaval in terms of rulership in Ethiopia. So you can't just use what is verifiable by modern scholarship. What you have to also look at is that there's no Christian or Hebrew nation that dispute the claim of Ethiopia, that can dispute. There was none. Ethiopia is the first nation state to put King Solomon and Queen of Sheba in their constitution. That was among the constitutions at the United Nations. There was no nation that could contest or say anything but acknowledge the Ethiopian account of their story. And then finally, I would say that when you look at the Ethiopian Bible, because I hear you talking about Hebrew and there's no Asian Hebrew and all of these things, Ethiopian Bible preserve these stories, which were not confirmed until the finding of the Dead Sea Scrolls in 1948, the Book of Jubilees, which was found in the Dead Sea Scrolls, the Book of Enoch, certain things. So that shows you that the Hebrew Bible stories, the stories captured in Giz, these are of ancient account. That's why the Ethiopians could preserve these stories, obviously. So again, when we look at what's provable by scholarship, that's different than what the history actually is. And I always are going to default to the people themselves and their story. This is why you see we say the time has come for the lions to tell our own story. I always going to default to the people. And if these Africans are saying Solomon is part of our story, Sheba is part of our story, and worse, they've never been conquered or colonized, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt, you know what I mean, in terms of that part. I want to add anything to that, Ras Sekou?
Yes, well, we want to also make a point that the word Hebrew meant one who crossed over, right? And so Hebrew itself was not a language per se until over time. But Hebrew, you have the people who spoke the language of the Hebrews, and all those people were African people, different strain of African people, but they were black people, whether they were from Kemet, the land of the blacks, which we call Egypt, or they were from Ethiopia, which they said was a sunburned, which meant sunburned people, or whether they were from Azania and Zimbabwe and all these areas. But because it was a connection across the Nile Valley civilization, what they know as I said, historically, even what we supplied in terms of what they call it, some people call pharaohs, the leaders of Kemet, we used to supply from Somalia, thing which was called punt, right? If you look it up, I ain't making up none of the stories. I deal with history as a student of history, right? I deal with reality, and we talk about punt, where they used to get and punt still exists, right? And to some extent, it could be found, right? The Somalia used to supply that area there, which they call punt, used to supply Kemet with incense, where there's frankincense and myrrh and so on. That came from that area there because that area was strong in producing those things, right? So I just want to say that it's very important not to accept whatever you get in terms of history and so on, because there's a lot of stories mixed up with reality, right? And one must read between it and read through it. So more anthropologists and historians are digging up more and more. So as young people, don't accept what I say or what any book say, but there's more information now, so on at the fingertips through Google and all these different things that you could research in various libraries and so on, and get more information for yourself, because knowledge the knowledge is power, but not just knowledge is power. It's the application of knowledge becomes powerful. Yes. So yeah. So challenge. I don't mind if they be challenged because I ain't gonna. I you know it's history I deal with. Yeah. And I deal with I and I people history, right? Not the history from the colonizers, right? They come here to America and they don't want you to talk about that they came here and killed the pale man. All right, and when they came here, there were African people already here, right? I didn't see it, right? Solomon writing in his diaries. When he came to Cuba, there was already a masjid there. African people were there, right? When with the long boobas and all that, they were there. In Haiti, same thing, right? They had the gold, which they call Ghana, which was gold, right? And that come from the Mali Empire, the Mali Kingdom. Abubakar Mansa Abubakar II. He came here with probably over 2,000 ships, right?
Yes, yes.
And so on. And that was long before 500 years before Christopher Columbus, right? Was arrived here. So we were here. We've been here. We've been trading with places like Mexico, the Aztecs and the Incas. There's certain corn if you go forward to Africa, and they see certain corn go back to that period of time that we were importing. We were trading with bringing gold, and we were trading things like maize and so on. So Africa may still have one of the oldest link to the maize that we were getting from the Aztecs and the Incas. When you go through South and Central America, very important. It's part of the Americas. It's part of but you see the big heads, the big gigantic heads. That some people define them as maybe gods. Some people define them, but it's us. We African people. It was people like Mansa Musa, Mansa Abubakar II, and so on. The people with thick lips and broad nose, African people, you can't deny them. So we've been everywhere. Africa is the first person to walk out on the planet was African woman. African woman was the first to walk on the planet, right? So the story of man being created first or made first is also a myth because it was woman who come on the planet who was the first to walk on the planet, right? African woman come from out of the soil, the black dirt, the black soil. If you go to Kemet, if you go to Ethiopia, go to those areas there, you know the soil will manifest. So this is it. So continue to search and research, and if you find new information and start writing too, because we willing to publish those stuff. Once you can back it up scientifically, write and publish. Debunk some of the myths that the European writers wrote about Africa and so on. It's time we put Africa on top. Africa first. They say
Yes.
MAGA, we say put Africa first. Africa first. Black people first.
Definitely.
We'll be walking.
Stick a pin. I have a brethren here, Ras Ether. Put on your camera, Ras Kamal. Put on your camera so we can see the eye. Turn on your camera. So we can bring the eye forward. Today is Rastafari Day. So I want the brethren to just block up on the significance of today. Today is the day where, hold on 1 second, I'm getting the feed forward again. Hold on 1 second. Today is the day where Rastafari ascended in terms of the name Ras. He was the proclamation. So I'm going to take a little quick break in between, and then we'll go into our next book. Robbie, I see you flooding the comment section with facts. I want to address some of them, but I will get to that as well, because some of those things, we have some alternate viewpoints in terms of the interpretation. But I love it. I love it. Turn on your camera, Nigos Kamal. Royal greetings. Unmute thyself.
Yes, sir. Royal greetings, Rastafari. Can you hear I?
Yes, I. Royal greetings.
Yes, I. Hail His
So
Imperial Majesty, Kidamawi, Ali Selassie, Rastafari.
beautiful, beautiful. So we're gonna take just a little quick intermission from the books because of the importance of today. I just tell the global family why today is so important and what is the significance of today.
Yes, greetings in His holy name, Emperor Kidamawi, Ali Selassie, Nagus Nagasa, Ethiopia. Today, September 27th, from what I was seeing in a few books, articles that I've collected, specifies that September 27th is it's also Maskal Day, if I'm not correct, in Ethiopia. But what I read is there's a group of Rases as well as clergymen in Ethiopia who didn't always agree with each other in the early 1900s, especially after the transcendence of Menelik II, with the confusion of who is the emperor of Ethiopia at that time. Will it be Dejazmatch or will it be Empress Zaudetu? Right? So what happened is they did agree that Dejazmatch is not qualified due to him wanting to transfer or switch the empire from being a Judeo-Christian empire to being a Muslim empire. And what happened with that is the Ottoman Empire was trying to persuade Dejazmatch from switching the empire from being a Judeo-Christian empire to being a Muslim empire. And as I said before, the Rases and all the clergy didn't agree with that, but they did agree that Rastafari Makanen is the qualified person to lead the empire, right? Not really as emperor or king as of yet, but more so as regent. So that decision was made on September 27th and proclaimed September 29th. A book that I received, I forgot what it's called, but it was in 1998. This book was published, and it was taught to the university, I believe, Addis Ababa University. I could be wrong. And this information has been put in also in certain books in the last 75, 80 years. And I did see that it's in the article from Literary Digest from 1916, specifying that Rastafari Makanen is now the regent. And that was published in December 30th, 1916, but it was referring to September 27th. And of course, Ras Sekou Tafari must definitely know this information in the history of the battles that emerged between September and I believe December and maybe January against Dejazmatch to maintain the throne of Ethiopia from being a Judeo-Christian empire. And again, that's the importance of today, to make sure that Ethiopia still remains as a Judeo-Christian empire. And that's why I call today Rastafari Proclamation Day. But some say that His Imperial Majesty was crowned today. It was actually crowned February 11th, 1917. So they proclaimed it this day, but he was actually coronated as Ras, regent, heir apparent, and plenipotentiary to the throne of Ethiopia. And that's pretty much it right there. Any other evidence, I would probably have to take the pictures and share it to the eye and put it in a chronological manner.
Give thanks. I am the reading Ras, so I want to read a little excerpt of. I see the eye, Ras Sekou. We can't hear that. I'm gonna let the eye block up as well. Hold on one moment, Ras Sekou. I'm gonna let because we're getting feedback from the eye line. Hold on 1 second. I'm gonna let the eye block up. But before that, I'm going to just read from the autobiography of His Majesty about today. Today is Rastafari Day. It says, on the 17th day of Mascaram, 1909, which is the 27th of September, 1916, on the day of the great feast of Mascal, it was arranged that the nobles with the army and the Archbishop Abuna Matthios and the Itege Walde Georgis, with the priest should assemble at a prepared place within the precincts of the palace. And when they had all arrived and taken their seat according to their rank, the following indictment against Lijayasu, which had been secretly prepared, was read out. The Christian faith, which our fathers had heretofore carefully retained by fighting for their faith with the Muslims and by shedding their blood, Lijayasu exchanged for the Muslim religion and aroused commotion in our midst. In order to exterminate us by mutual fighting, he has converted to Islam, and therefore we shall henceforth not submit to him. We shall not place a Muslim king on the throne of a Christian king. We have ample proof of his conversion to Islam. Number one, he married 4 wives, claiming, the Quran permits it to me. Of these wives, one is the daughter of Abba Jafar of Jimma nobility. The second is the daughter of Hajj Abdullah of Harar nobility. The third is the daughter of Abu Bakr of Adal nobility. And the father of the fourth, the Dejazmatch Dejote, became a Christian and baptized his daughter while she lived under her baptismal name, Askala Maryam. It was to the Dejazmatch Dejote daughter that he, Ayasu, later on, after conversion to Islam, gave the Muslim woman's name of Momina. 2, he built a mosque at Jiga with government funds and gave it to the Muslims. 3, at the time he sent Mahizer Bey, a foreign Turkish consul resident at Addis Ababa, as he was celebrating the Ramadan feast, our Ethiopian flag, on which there was written, "The Lion of the tribe of Judah prevailed," and adorned with the sign of the cross, on which he had caused to be written the following words in Arabic: "There is no God but Allah, and Muhammad is the messenger of Allah." 4, he wore Somali Muslim clothes and Muslim turban and held the Islamic rosary and was seen to prostrate himself in the mosque. 5, he was seen praying and reading the Quran, having it transcribed in Amharic characters. 6, on the headgear of his special guards, he had embroidered the legend, "There is no God but Allah." 7, His Highness Ras Makonnen had built a church in Harar and had made the area adjoining the church into a dwelling for the clergy, giving the Muslims a place in exchange. Then, 32 years later, he, Lijayasu, expelled the clergy and restored it to the Muslims. 8, when a girl was born to him, he saw to it that she would grow up learning the Muslim religion, and he gave her to the Muslim Mudan Hanifa and said, "Bring her up on my behalf." 9, he despised the descent of Menelik II, which comes direct from Menelik I, and claimed to be descended from the Prophet Muhammad. Assembling a great Muslim sheikhs, he spent a day convincing them of his genealogical calculations. 10, the day on which our great King Emperor Menelik, who had bequeathed him the throne, died, instead of mourning and arranging lamentations, he went out horse riding to Jan Meda and spent the day there playing combat games. He forbade Menelik's body to be buried with dignity, and thus it has remained up until now. We possess a great deal of further similar proof against Lijayasu. Therefore, having deposed him, we have placed up on the throne Waziro Zaditu, Emperor Menelik's daughter. We have appointed Dejazmatch Tafari, son of His Highness Ras Makonnen, crown prince with the rank of Ras and regent of the empire. So I just wanted to give that historical recitation so that you could see that on this day was when Lijayasu was deposed, and you see a lengthy list of proof, and His Majesty ascended into the position of Ras. So give thanks, Ras Nigos Kamal, is there anything else that I want to say before the eye trad? Nigos Kamal, can you turn on the eye camera, please? Is there any final sounds that the eye want block?
Yeah, I discovered the article right here. Would you like for me to read from it, or is
Yeah,
that not good?
just give us a little piece quickly.
Okay, it says the new Queen of Sheba, the first crown to fall. Remember, this is from 1916. This was published December 30th,
Okay.
1916. All right. It says the new Queen of Sheba, the first crown to fall, as a direct result of the present war, is an African one. The only state left in Africa that is not under the dominion of one or another of the great powers is the ancient Christian empire of Ethiopia, commonly called Abyssinia, whose sovereigns claim descent from the biblical Queen of Sheba. Now another queen rules the land as a result of a revolution which took place a month or two ago. The story was told by the Paris illustration runs, quote, the revolution in Ethiopia shows the influence of the war upon that Christian land, and it has resulted in favor of the Allies. Quote, the young Emperor Dejazmatch became a Muslim under it is alleged German influence, notwithstanding the discontent aroused from the Abyssinian princes by the apostasy and libertism of the emperor. He managed to maintain himself in power by the aid of the Mohammedan tribes and on the eastern border and by moving the capital of the empire from Addis Ababa to Harad. Rastafari, governor of the province of Harad, a son of the famous Ras Makonnen, whom Dejazmatch had tried to put out of the way, placed himself at the head of the opposition, which was composed of all the ministries and native princes, and he proposed the dethronement of the Negus, or Negus, as the emperor is called. Quote, on the 27th of September, Maskal was celebrated, the national feast day, and at Addis Ababa, the supreme head of the national church, the Abuna Mateos, solemnly released the Abyssinian nation from its oath of allegiance and declared Dejazmatch deposed from the throne. Amid scenes of much popular enthusiasm, he proclaimed as Empress Zaudatu, younger daughter of the late Emperor Menelik II, and installed as regent and heir to the throne Ras Tafari. A tentative rebellion was promptly suppressed. Some 30 chiefs were put to death. Others were thrown into prison and ordered was restored. There's more, but I just wanted to seal that part up
Yes,
right
give
there.
thanks, give thanks. There's no other platform that's going to bring you this history on this day in this way. So, as Rastafari independent, non-aligned media, we have to recall these days. We have to bring them, keep them into prominence. It was a massive shift in Ethiopia. The ascendancy, our movement, our levity is called by Rastafari, not Haile Selassieites, or we are called by his pre-coronation name. So this day is really, an earthquake shift in the whole balance. Rastafari is still growing globally. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So that name rings out through the annals of time and space. So we really have to give thanks for the moments, and we give thanks for the eye bringing that history. King, perfect love to the eye on the journey. I see the eye in the vehicle. We're gonna bring the eye forward so we can do a deep dive into some of the manuscripts and articles. The brethren is reading an article from 1916 that the brethren discovered through his research. So you see, we have contemporaneous, accounts of the historical events. Very valuable. I do give thanks for the eye and perfect love on the eye journey, King.
Likewise, brethren, give thanks for the eye works and Lion's Voice, much love and progressive movements to the eye. Give thanks for sharing all of I Night information and stories in the last 4 years, brethren.
Give thanks and we look forward. Yes, I.
Yes, I.
Isaac, it's perfect love. Yes, Ras Sekou. Yeah, you want to add anything? I saw there. I was reading it
Yes,
earlier.
yes. I'm grateful for the brethren. And I tell you, see when I hear, see and hear when our young brethren and sisters keeping up with the works and bringing forward information that need to be added and to be kept in the irate. Because September 27, 1916, historical day, and we need to keep it in the annals of Rastafari. So give thanks for my beloved brethren for making sure that we remember, that important day, Regency, come to the emergency, to their majesty, and also the whole question of denouncing the the JASU in terms of trying to divert Ethiopia into Islamic Empire. And we must understand that why that is the case, because the whole idea that Ethiopia, being one of the oldest, if not the oldest, but one of the oldest empires of where Christianity, found its early roots, and it was everyone for Christianity and the king of Ethiopia as well. Islam probably would not even continue to exist, because it was a Ethiopian king, Negus, who indicated when Muhammad came over the border looking for solace, rest, running away from what was going on in Medina, and so on. And it was the Ethiopian king who said, who asked what was their concentration in terms of what Islam stood for. And when he related it, the Negus of Ethiopia said, what you worship and what we worship is the same thing. We have the same cultural and spiritual values. And he gave the Muhammad followers sanctuary in Ethiopia at the time. So and was also remember that what you call Bilal, who mother was Ethiopian, black skin Ethiopian woman, and Bilal was a Enoch, but he could understand and was a from the Tuwedo original Tuwedo church in Ethiopia. And in my mind, some people might like when I say this what I'm going to say, but in my mind, Bilal was the founder also of Islam. It always reverts, even in the West, when the African create something, but they try to make him look at here at the bottom. So, but Bilal is the one, because if you study the Tuwedo principles, it is very much similar to what Islam taught. And so I would say it was Bilal who could read and write, in opposed to Muhammad, who could not read and write until he was 40 years old, who I would say was the one who founded Islam. And remember, Bilal was an Ethiopian. He was a slave, what they call Abi. But that is how it always go when they write the history, and so on. Also, writers writing that Muhammad was also African, and I guess that's one of the reasons why in Islam they don't want any portrait of the Muhammad, peace be upon him, so on. So, because the fact is, like European history, very much similar. You see what Napoleon did with the Sphinx. He brought the nose off, because they don't want African history to continue. They don't want people to remember, to know that it was Islam, Judaism, Christianity, all started on the shores of the African continent. Yeah, so we give thanks, and we must remember Rastafari Day. His Majesty became regent This is very vital and crucial in our history. More love. Give thanks.
Give thanks, give thanks. We're still getting a little bit of feedback, so forgive us. Next time we're gonna have to get there another phone. Try use another phone, Ras Sekou,
You know
because
what? We ordered it, and it was supposed to reach. And they say something about the where called the the warehouse closer to Chicago didn't have it, so they delayed a few more days and that kind of stuff. But we did order it.
yeah, because it's definitely the phone, because I see with the next version audio was clean, so I know it's definitely the phone. But we're working through it, family. Don't worry yourself. I want to go through some of these comments. Robbie, you're really a scholar. I see that. Hold on there, Robbie. Let me go. I see the eye has met the great Johnny Johnson, the great Bongo Wisely. I'm gonna go earlier to some of these. Robbie said there is no historical evidence of ancient Israel, and Hebrew only has 7,000 total words and no evidence of a living language. Old Testament was a Greek production, and the Masoretic was medieval text. And this is where we would disagree, Robbie, because to Ethiopia is the missing link that verifies the biblical account, because again, the Greek Septuagint, or the Egyptian Bible, whatever you want to call it, does not contain the books of the Ethiopian Bible that were only verified by the Essene community when they uncovered the Dead Sea Scrolls in 1948. This is when they found the fragments from the Book of Enoch and Ethiopian Bible is still the only one. So it shows that there's a common source that held all of these traditions. The people self-identified as Hebrews. So, this is where I and scholars disagree now, because the scholars, I feel come with a certain kind of vibration, but there's a living tradition that says something different, and Ethiopia is always left out or discounted. The fact that they preserve this history, and there's only, it has to be an ancient, so it can't be the Greek that when the Greek doesn't even have all of the books and all of the stories. The Greeks did not preserve the Book of Enoch, all of these preserved only in the Ethiopian account. There was no Book of Enoch found in the Coptic text and these things. So the Ethiopians have the most complete of this story, and again, the Ethiopian preserve from generation to generation their story. Now, how that appears in terms of verifiable proof in manuscripts and these things, of course, there's going to be gaps, because Ethiopia has been invaded so many times. If you read the conquest of Abyssinia, the story of Ahmed Gran, you would see even your argument about there's no church, all of the Ethiopian churches are between the 7th and 13th century. If you read the conquest of Abyssinia, you would hear how many churches were burned, how many of the ancient churches. A lot of people don't know Ethiopia had churches covered in gold and rubies and diamonds and precious stone. All of that was burned down during the conquest of Abyssinia. Ancient churches, 50 feet tall, all kind of, it's all, the Muslim historians captured all of this history. So the Ethiopia that comes to us down from antiquity, as preserved in the writings of Europeans and various travelers, is not the ancient Ethiopia, which a lot of that was destroyed during the Ahmed Gran. And this is where the Ethiopian national pathos against Islam. A lot of people don't understand why Ethiopian, even to bring it forward to Rastafari Day and why Lijayasu was deposed for adopting Islam. There were great scars from the conquest of Ahmed Gran that, lived in the psyche. His Majesty even wrote about it in the autobiography about Ahmed Gran, destroying most of the history of Ethiopia and very little surviving onto the present day. So, again, the biblical account, which is the story of the Hebrews, was preserved by the Ethiopians. And so we cannot say that there's no historical evidence when the Ethiopians themselves are the evidence. Let me see here, addressing some of the other. He said Rabbinic Judaism didn't emerge until the 6th century with the Talmud. Let that sink in. The Talmud don't have nothing to do with us as Africans. I don't see the Talmud as part of I&I history. That is when I think the converts. Hold on, Ras Sekou, you have something to say about the Talmud?
Yeah. I want to say that to my brethren there, you can see whatever information you come up with. The Talmud was a concept that the white or pale skin Jews who came out of what we know as the that area there in around Russia there, right? Those people, and they came up with the Talmud, and the Talmud was a very racist doctrine, because they talk about the daughter of the Talmud when you combine that with the concept of Noah and so on, and the curse to the train of the train of Haman and so on. That is where the Talmud was a racist doctrine that spoke highly in terms of that black people were we were given the tree trend, and that we the train of were cursed, and cursed with the train of Ham and so on, and so on, because he went in and saw his father nakedness, which always sound like some mythos to me, and so on. But the reality of it is the Book of the Dead, or what they call the Egyptian Book of Coming Forth by Day, right? Which is a more ancient book, and a lot of the doctrines and stories in that book was taken and stolen and placed in what some aspects of what they call the Old and New Testament, especially the Old Testament, right? The whole concept even of the Ten Commandments was also came from the 42 negative conception coming out of Kemet. And we must remember people like John G. Jackson, one of our great historians. They would tell you that what we know as Kemet was the daughter of Ethiopia, right? Kemet was the daughter of Ethiopia. So when we talking, we know they coming out of Greece and so on. These people came to Kemet, which was the daughter of Ethiopia, to learn and to sit down in the great lodges and of Luxor and so on. So these were universities. So whatever we're talking about in terms of the Greece, they are some Johnny come lately. Yeah, we have to go into the deep history of Africa, right? These Johnny come lately, they're trying to make sure that that these colonialism and historical colonialism remain dominant, and we have a set of people pushing that. But Africa is the mother and father of all civilization, right? The Chinese come out of it, the Japanese come out of it, right? The Arabs come out of it, the so-called people from Greece and all these people, right? Uh, you know, they all came out of it. The pale skinned Jews all came out of it. Africa is first. Africa first. Africa is the mother of our civilization. We have all the history there to prove it. So we ain't going to no Greece, nothing. We're going with Africa first. Africa is the mother of all civilization.
Give thanks. We're gonna have to. I have a hard stop at 7. We have the IDOR study group tonight returning. But I want to touch
Yeah, I
this.
want to jump on that for
Yeah,
a second myself.
I wanna touch on the Fetanagas. The Tablet of Kish is the oldest writing in the world of 3500 BCE. Many English Bibles mistranslate Kish as Cush. Proto cuneiform on stone tablets. And to me, when you talk about Sumar, Kush, all those places, it's the same black man them. They refer to themselves as the black-headed people. The Sumerians. And if you look at the Bible, it tell you that Nimrod, who the Bible ascribed as the progenitor of that region, was the son of Cush. So any way you look at it, that was all black man land, whether you call it Kish, whether you call it Kush. We're talking about the ancient African black empires, you know what I mean? So that is not a problem, or it is not a contradiction, you know what I mean? Because different people can have different nomenclature for themselves. So you know what I mean? But I love the reason, and I wish we had more time. I wish we had more time because I see that the brethren Robbie is a true scholar. So give thanks. And I was referring to the Dead Sea Scroll, Robbie, just to predate it before the Greek, not to say that it predates to 1000 BCE, but just to address this this sound that the earliest Bible was the Greek, when the Ethiopian Bible again preserves books that do not appear in the Greek but were confirmed by the community of Essenes that had that historical library of Hebrew traditions at Qumran. That's what I was referring to in terms of the Dead Sea. That gives us, some very strong circumstantial evidence that the Ethiopian is preserving a history that predates all of that. You know what I mean? So, and the Greek, of course, dates to after death, and that's where they try to say that this is the earliest. There's no Hebrew that predates. So obviously there is a text that these texts were drawing from that predates the Greek Septuagint. You know what I mean? So so what I'm saying, Robbie, is that the Ethiopian Bible has these books that were confirmed by the Dead Sea Scrolls that were not in the Greek Septuagint. So the Septuagint could not be the origin of where they were getting their history. That's all I'm saying. But we don't have a lot of time. We do have to go to the IDOR study group. If you want to join us, you can join my Patreon for free, or you can become a paid patron and join our town hall tomorrow. We have a special guest speaker tomorrow, Sister Colleen Douglas, who's going to be talking about personal branding. Not to be missed. Join our community. We are building a powerhouse of like-minded individuals in our Patreon. That is the economic engine of this platform, and that's what makes it possible. So join $5-10 a month for price a cup of coffee. you can support Rastafari independent non-aligned media. Very important that we remain crowd audience funded so that we're not dependent on individuals. So we're gonna seal up. Can you just let us know about the Feta Nagas, our final book
Yes,
for
yes,
today?
yes. So this is the Feta Negas, or our version of the Feta Negas, right? The law of kings, right? And this is dealing with the the same way in common law in America and England. You look at certain laws, concepts in terms of the tradition. Well, in the Feta Negas deals with the tradition in terms of certain concepts written and so on, statutes and so on. So this is where some of the British statutes they have come. It became into a book probably about a few hundred years ago, but it still was based on oral tradition and oral statutes coming out of Kemet. So this is what we call the law of kings. And this preface was written by no other than Their Majesty Haile Selassie the First, the king of all kings. So this is a very crucial piece, the law of kings, the Feta Nagas. And this is for $30. The keyboard Nagas is $18.95, and the Maccabees Bible, as I said, you can get it for $19.95. You're going to put a code in and so on. But you also must remember that these books, whether people are going to dispute it now and say they were X amount of years old or whatever, but historically they have alliance with what the concept of Ethiopia, the concept of Rastafari, and so on, and we holding on to the tradition of this, using the old laws, as we say, traditional laws, and that we find in the Feta Negas, some of the stories we find in the keyboard Negas, as we say, some might be allegorical, but nonetheless, sometimes stories we don't know sometimes to differentiate because from facts of fiction, because sometimes the fiction sometimes become reality, because that is one of the things about Rastafari. An African tradition as well. You take mythos and we use it as a strength to lift us up out of the consequences of for emancipation, because we all are about sovereignty, we all about emancipation, and it's all about liberation of the mind. So, Feta Negas, right? You remember it, the law of all kings, and Kibra Negas, the king of the Menelik, Queen of Sheba, or Queen Makeda, with the only son called Menelik. So then you have the Maccabees Bible. So notwithstanding, the debate will continue, and some go, because it's not about winning debate, it's about coming with information, solid information, historical information, right? With the reality of it is, even people like Wallace Budge in his history of Ethiopia, which we publish, and we'll tell you that Ethiopian people were barbaric and the history didn't start, they misconceived some of the stories. Yet, we could find Denkadish, which goes back to over 3-point-something million years old. So that tells us something. That even if what is Budge was alive today, he might have had to eat his words when he talk about the barbaric Ethiopian people and how they make up stories and so on. But if Denkadish is real, go back to 3-point-something million years old as the oldest fossil you could find on the planet. They call her Lucy. The Ethiopians call her Denkadish, right? So we see that Ethiopian history is as ancient as we call it, because if you look at even in terms of Hinduism, and they keep and so on, and the Bhagavad Gita and all that stuff, as I indicated earlier, that Ethiopia was what we call Western Ethiopia, and India was what they call Eastern Ethiopia, where they all came from the foundation of Ethiopia, the land of the black bone skinned people, right? And we must remember that. So no matter what, we not today we advance in Ethiopia first, and not Greece and so on, because we're looking forward again to say that Ethiopia is the mother, right? Astrology and all and these things, the bank of the Red Sea, the Blue Nile, where it was spoiled, where astrology and so on. You look, read the Ruins of Empire by Volney, and then you see in terms of African people, our history goes way back, and it's pale skinned people defending that. So we ain't going back to know Athens and so on and Greece. We go long before that. Our history goes tens and tens and tens and tens and tens of thousands of people a year, right? As I say, just not too long ago, in Azania, they found a cave with what you call the old ancient Ankh, right, which goes back to over 100,000 years, predating even Kemet and the Ankhs there. They found so much what they call information and documentation in those caves that it put Kemet as a baby to what was going on in the Nile Valley civilization. Haile.
Give thanks. We give thanks for all of the information. We're gonna have to end it here, family, because of the timing. We do have the IDOR study group. We're asking, and thank you everyone who is still here with us. We had some technical difficulties today. The audio wasn't the greatest, but we press on. The elder is getting a new phone, so prayerfully next month we'll have cleaner audio to share with the item. But it was still very educational, very uplifting. We are going into the books over here on the Lion Voice Network. And as long as we live, and Robbie, I hope the I come forward. We love the I input. I don't agree with the I that Ethiopia was a Roman and Greek, a Greco-Roman outpost and these things. But I love the fact that the I does peppering the comments with history and thing that to I, as a African history nerd, I love it, you know what I mean? So please come forward, Brother Robbie. This is your home as well, because this is not an echo chamber. We're not a yes man society over here. We love the reasoning as Rastafari. That's how we sharpen our swords, you know what I mean, iretically. So there is welcome here, but the whole point of us gathering is to support Frontline Books. So I want everyone to go to Frontline, Frontline. Let us support the Frontline Books, please, and thank you. You can see here, Frontline. We're gonna go to the home page here. Buy a book. Let's put aside at least $20 a month and buy some kind of literature. You can give them as gifts to your nieces, your nephews, your family members. Remember, our strategic aim here is to have Frontline be one of the main distribution platforms on the African continent. Ras Sekou has big plans We want to help him. We're going to grow together as the Lion Voice Network. He is a sponsor. He did see our platform and believe in it as a foundation. When I was in university, I used to read Frontline books. You know, I would look in the book. So it's very special to I personally, as a brethren who, you know, is also an author and who read, you know, tirelessly about African and Ethiopian history. And many of those books, including the autobiography, were published by Frontline Books. So anything that we can do to make Frontline, you know, successful, we want to help the elder to be able to scale his operation across the continent, from Cape to Cairo, from the River Nile to the Timbuktu. And how we do that is by putting aside a little money, just like you put aside your little money to support the Lion Voice Network that we're asking for $5-10. Put aside a $5-10, even if it's not every month, every other month. Buy a book from Frontline Books, give it as a gift. We have the holiday season coming up. Buy some books and give to your families. Armageddon World War III has already started. The hot war is getting ready to ramp up. We have the American calling all of our generals to Washington, D.C. to get them orders. Whole heap of things are happening in the UN. We didn't talk about the UN, but we have to talk about some of them UN speeches. Serious times on earth. Right now is the time to be gifting your family books, knowledge, you know what I mean? Get them prepared for what is to come. Together we can do it. So please purchase Frontline Books. Also, please support Rastafari Independent Non-Aligned Media. Join our Patreon. We have a monthly subscription service. We're also going to be starting a YouTube membership program where you can subscribe on YouTube, because I realize also some people don't come off of the platform. There's some people that are just YouTube them deal with. They're not going to go on Patreon no matter how much you try to get them over there. So we're going to have a subscription option on YouTube as well, a membership option. And if you join the YouTube membership, you'll still get the invitations to the town hall meetings as well. But the whole idea with our ecosystem is that it's multi-platform. We're not dependent on any one platform. We're trying to build across multiple platforms, but the concept is Rastafari Independent Non-Aligned Media. If you want to get our newsletter, make sure you subscribe to either our Patreon or you subscribe to our website. If you go on the website, let me just big up First Man and the Rastafari Indigenous Village. They have joined the Ubuntu Lion Pride. So First Man, big up yourself. Rastafari Indigenous Village, big up yourself for joining our Ubuntu Lion Pride. And let me big up our latest member of our Patreon, Osman the Karish. Big up yourself, brother Osman. Welcome to the Lion Pride on Patreon. Our latest member. We're at 44 Patreon members now. Tomorrow is our town hall meeting. All roads lead to the town hall meeting tomorrow. Sister Colleen Douglas, personal branding. We're building an army of content creators, of people who are making money doing what they love. Our goal is to get people transitioning from part-time to full-time in their passion. So we're going to do that. All right, I'm 8 minutes over time. Study group has already started. Ras Sekou, just say your final word sound and we're going to seal up.
Yes. So give thanks for the manifestation of the day. We give thanks again. You say continue to support Lion Pride. Very important. Put out a few dollars, not only to buy books, but also to give a support to Lion Pride, because we need our own voice, and we have to support, and they can't support with talk, because it only how we could support both the Lion Pride and Frontline Books is by making a contribution on a consistent basis, whether you're buying books or you join the Patreon and so on. But I don't know if we have an app yet for Lion Pride, but we need to support, because these things, you know, I see Kwasi just be doing these things consistently, and these things just cost dollars, you know. So we need the support for both Lion Pride and for Frontline Books. So we give thanks and just keep, you know, researching, keep on reading, and remember, as Marcus Garvey say, liberate the minds of men so that we may liberate the bodies of all men. So we give thanks, power to the people, as a Saka Shako would say, and we say, hail up, hail the lion, continue to serve their majesty, Haile Selassie the first, and Empress Menen Aswa, you know, because we, at this time we need that cultural strength, because Babylon is king we need. Remember, World War III, as our brethren Kwasi say, they already fell the first stone. So we gotta know where we're looking and how we're holding on and what we're doing, because Ubuntu, as Kwasi say, the whole idea is, you know, without me, they can't be no you. So the only how we can make it together is collectivity, the power of survival here, the power of living together, because World War III, they already strike the match. You know, you what's that? So let's come together, hold on together as Rastafari and Pan-African people. Yes, I give thanks. Much love.
Perfect love, family. So there you have it. Chapter 5 of the Reading Ras on the front line. We are here, we are ready, and we won't stop. Why? Because the time has come for the lions to tell our own story. And this is the lion's voice.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. And I, Ras Negos, time is come for the lion to tell the lion own story, you know? Yeah, listen to the lion voice. Rastafari. Haile.
What are you waiting for? Come together, calling from near and far. Know who you are. What are you waiting for? Rally up, it takes the dust. What are you waiting for? Ancestors paved the way for us. Yes, I am Ketis Oyonde, asking, what are you waiting for to come together? The time has come for the lions to tell our own story. This is the lion's voice.
Yeah, man. Greetings, Rastafari, Haile Emperor, the King Selassie, the first, the perfect balance, Empress Menen. This is first man for Rastafari Indigenous Village, recognizing, accepting, promoting lion voice. Yes, the voice of Rastafari, speaking about Rastafari, educating Rastafari, preserving, protecting Rastafari. Give thanks.
Aye, Rastafari, mighty.
The fittest of the fittest shall survive. My people, open your eyes. Wake up. Blessed love, this is Queen Omega, representing for all lions and lionesses. With the lion's voice, we come to tell our story. Rastafari, live it. Hey, the lion's voice. Rastafari.
Yes, Jah people, this is Michael Shemai representing. I will say, hear the lion voice, saying it is time for the lions and the lionesses to tell their own story. King David killed Goliath with a stone, we original dread.
I will never stop, hail the Most High, and I will never stop, call Rastafari. Blessed love, this is Kushite representing for the Lion's Voice. We are here to tell our own story, Rastafari.
Blessed love, this is Ras representing for the Lion's Voice, saying, yeah man, keep it locked right here, sir. On to Zion we go. Lion voice don't move slow, no. Rastafari rules and reigns, and we're going where the blessings flow. Keep it locked right here, sir. Saying, Rashila said that. Lion's voice.
Amina, the time has come for the lioness to tell our own story. No surrender, no retreat, we are Jaja soldier. Rougher than the streets, tougher than a boulder. Bigging up Lamb's voice. Now put it. I Jollifer said that.
Yo! Blazing fire, yeah man, this is Ras out of Belize. And the time has come for the lions to tell our own story. Right? Yeah man. We blaze fire, burning the wicked and the dirty vampire. Yeah man, Ras say that. Blazing fire, lion boy.
Well, Lion Vice, tell them that's the people first choice. Lion Vice, make the lioness them feel nice. Lion Vice, with the lion cubs we sacrifice. Lion Vice, got to show the people them the life. Lion Vice.
Jano, I'm so hungry, bro.